In just over 3 hours' time, Ulster Bank's remaining branches around the country will close their doors for the final time. The move is part of the lender's gradual withdrawal from the Irish market after 187 years in business here. In total, 63 branches will shut for the final time at 4:30, and ATM services will also end, 3 weeks after all in-branch transactions ceased. The move will result in 450 staff departing the bank and leave some areas of the country with just one full-service bank branch nearby. These customers outside the branch in Dundrum in Dublin this morning have been speaking to our business editor Will Goodbody.
Very sad that it's been closed today. Look, hopefully those that are employed there will get a job, you know.
Are you a long-time customer?
I am indeed, yeah.
It sort of affects me a bit because I was with them. It was handy for going in and paying your visa bill and wherever else. Now that it's gone, I have to go out. Well, I've had to close the account down, but go elsewhere and reroute everything.
There's all the people that had accounts there, like I have a businessman myself, and a lot of people are trying to change their accounts. It's a nuisance altogether. Like, the more banks we have, the more it is for everybody.
So obviously the branch is closing today, the ATM's being deactivated.
Well, it's a very good machine to have because it's handy, because sometimes the machine in the Bank of Ireland doesn't work. So the possibly having two machines was great, but it's a big advantage. But it's gone now, I'm afraid. We can't do anything about it.
It's very sad, really, because they've always been great people to deal with. So the way it is, unfortunately.
You've done all your transferring at this stage?
All of it. The whole 6 months.
Ulster Bank customers in Dundrum this morning. Well, John O'Connell is General Secretary of the Financial Services Union and he joins the studio. Very good afternoon, John. Thanks for coming and talk to us on the programme. It really is the end of an era, 187 years in business here, and for your own members, for staff in Ulster Bank, a poignant and sad day, particularly because they've actually been working towards this. They've been involved in winding the operation down.
Yeah, no, it is a sad day, and I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the commitment of staff and our members in Ulster Bank for their dedication, diligent professional service, and up until 4:30 today they will be customer focused to the very end. I too called into a branch today and talked to staff, and so they are very, very professional staff, and it is a decision that we campaigned against and hoped that Ulster Bank wouldn't go, but they decided for their own commercial reasons that they were leaving the state.
430 staff, as I say, will lose their jobs today. More will go in August. And obviously it's difficult in any circumstances to face that. But is the likelihood that they'll be snapped up if they want to find work elsewhere?
I think there is capacity within the financial service sector and within the banking sector particularly, in terms of all the particular skills that people have. But also remember, Brian, that a number of 100 jobs have been saved. Almost 700 jobs have been saved because Ulster Bank staff are going to transfer to permanent TSB and to AIB. So while it is a sad day and nobody wants to see anyone lose their job, there are options there, not for everybody. Branches were closed, so those staff are particularly hard hit. But that 600 or 700 staff will transfer with their work, which is loan books that are transferred.
And for the others, how have Ulster Bank performed in terms of preparing them for looking for work elsewhere?
I think while we had difficult discussions and eventually reached agreement with Ulster Bank, I have to, acknowledge again their flexibility. So it was all about options for people. So a lot of people were able to exercise options. Some people who could have transferred and didn't wish to transfer were facilitated by the bank. So I would have to acknowledge that. And they allowed swapping out, which is something that we have practiced in a number of banks, where you and I may be working in the bank, you may be for redundancy but want to stay, and I may want to go. And they allowed that kind of flexibility. So that made it, again, a little bit easier in a difficult situation.
We have these Ulster Bank branches closing today. Bank of Ireland has been closing branches, so has KPC, of course, has gone. AIB has been scaling back as well on its branch network. Is the era of the bank branch really coming to a close?
I think PTSB deserve a mention. They bucked a trend and they acquired 25 branches and saved the jobs in those 25 branches in terms of that. And so not everybody agrees that the branch era is over. We certainly saw an attempt by AIB to change the landscape in terms of cashless branches, but that was wholly rejected by the population. So I think there's a debate to be had about what we want into the future in terms of the banking network. We would argue that this far and no further in terms of branch closures, that people spoke when the government surveyed them for the banking review and said we want to retain face-to-face services and access to that.
Right. John O'Connell from the Financial Service Union, thanks very much for talking to us.